Okay, welcome everybody. I know a lot of you are still traveling. Come on, just mute your lines. There's a mute button. If you're not muted, please just mute your line as you come on. Oh, there's a lot of you guys that aren't muted. Hold on one second, guys. If you're just, Julie, you guys, if you're just coming on, please just mute your lines as much as you can, okay? All right, thank you guys. All right, awesome. Well, guys, I'm super excited. One thing that our mentor, I was talking to our guest earlier about, you know, I couldn't think of a better way to have, a lot of us are excited. We've already had enrollments yesterday and today, and it's getting more and more excited to be a part of LifeVantage. And, you know, as I was saying, I was talking to our guests, and one thing that never happened while we had our Team True Blue calls is we always had on Sunday night a call. And Brandon said to me when he told us as elites to take over and have our own calls that they need to go on no matter what. And we all made it through a hurricane. We can make it through some travel. And our special guest, he lives in California, and he had to travel home by himself, and his wife is still en route. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring him on, and then I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about him. I met him, and he can probably correct me. I think it was a couple years ago at an event, and we just hit it off. And I was just telling him I'm excited to work with some of his team, you know, in Canada and wherever I possibly can. I don't believe we can make enough friends. And Dr. Arhtur Lupsha is just an amazing guy. He's just a humble guy. You can see a picture there of him and his wife, Kelly, and Trisha Albrechtson, and just at a Real Salt Lake game. And just, I'm not going to steal all. You can see him and his kids and his wife. He went to the College of Osteopathic Medicine. He's a physical therapist. He is wow. And Arthur, I didn't know this, so I promise I will never make you mad. I didn't know he's been in 22 years as a PT, 16 years private practice, working with traumatic brain injuries and stroke patients. And he is, back where I come from, we call this a butt kicker. He is a 3rd-degree black belt in karate. So a lot of you guys, if you're just coming on, please mute your lines. We can't have any, I want to try to keep as much time for this as we can, so we have no discussion. So just on your thing there, I don't want to have to go in and mute everybody, so just try to mute as much as you can. So I'm going to turn the time over to my friend and my business partner, Dr. Arhtur Lupsha. Arthur, have a way. I want you to just tell us your story, how you heard about LifeVantage, and then I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. So the floor is yours, my friend. Have at it.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. Well, guys, I have to admit I was a complete non-believer. Elite Pro 7 Michael Epstein tried to bring this to me for 2 years. And for 2 years, I told him, Michael, I didn't go to school for 9 years and get 3 academic degrees, a bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degree to sell pills. And I said, and furthermore, supplements do little more than give you expensive pee. And my evidence for that was I take a multivitamin at night and my urine's bright yellow in the morning. So I said I was a network marketer's worst nightmare. I thought I knew it all. So this has been going on for about 2 years when my wife comes up to me one day about a week after Michael had asked me for about the 17,000th time. And she says, hey, Arthur, I really want to know what Michael's doing with this Protandim. And I got really upset because I thought he'd gone behind my back. And I just asked her, I said, okay, why do you want to know? And she said to me, well, 2 things. She said, number one, you know, we need plan B in life. We're working super hard. We make good money, but when we're not working, we're not earning. And this is a blended family. It's a 2nd marriage for Kelly and I. And getting here wasn't easy. Had some tough times with my divorce, ended up going through a personal bankruptcy. You know, I've dug my way out of that, but I kind of understand what financial hardships about. So when she said we need to figure out a way to make more money and dig that well before we need it, that resonated with me. And then the second thing that really hooked me was she told me about a friend of ours who was 52 years old, and she's an elite triathlete. At the time, now, you know, almost 3 years, 2.5, almost 3 years ago, Kelly told me that this woman was currently ranked number 3 in the world at full distance Ironman triathlons in her age group. And her husband makes 7 figures a year. She's had the luxury of being a stay-at-home mom in Orange County, California, living on the beach. She has a swimming coach, running coach, cycling coach, personal trainer, and private nutritionist. And she takes Protandim. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this woman wouldn't put anything in her body if it wasn't helping her. And then Kelly says to me, and in fact, she didn't think it was doing anything for her, so she stopped taking it. And when she stopped taking it, her performance fell off, her recovery took longer, and this was the kicker, her congenital hypertension came back. So she started taking Protandim again, her performance improved, recovery improved, and her hypertension went away. I said, okay, I'll look. So the next weekend, Michael Epstein came over to our house, and he shared with me that primetime special report, and I still wasn't happy. I still met him like this at the door. You know, I don't do this, Michael. This is Kelly's deal. But I watched that primetime special report, and my arms started coming down, and my jaw kind of hit the floor, and I looked at the science, and I got it. I understand the relationship between oxidative stress and disease. I already knew that. I just didn't know what to do about it. And when I'm not a biochemist, but I've had a lot of biochemistry, and everything I saw in that primetime special report made sense. And while Michael was still there talking to me and putting me on the phone with other people, I was searching PubMed. I was looking on the internet. I was finding testimonials. And I could not find anything that made me say, no, I can't do this. So 6 hours later, I handed my credit card and we were all in. You know, I didn't know what it would or wouldn't do, but I just said, you know what, we're going to take the product. And when I look at the difference between becoming a business owner or just buying product, it didn't make any sense just to buy product. It was a no-brainer. So the very first person that I shared this with was a patient of mine and his wife. This gentleman was 80 years old. He'd had a massive stroke when he was 76. When I met him almost 1.5 years to 2 years after his stroke, he had no movement on his right side. And over the 1.5 years I had worked with him, I got him to the point where he was walking with me, but I had to tap on his quads a little bit to help him activate so he could stand on it. I had to advance his right foot for him. I had an exercise routine with him that included some Pilates type exercises where I put resistance bands around his ankle and he'd pull down and I'd have to assist him a little bit. And he'd get maybe 10 repetitions and do it twice. Well, I was down to only seeing him once a week because his progress was really slow, but his wife just wanted to keep him moving. So they come into the office and I sit them down and I tell her, hey, Margaret, she's of Chinese American descent. I said, I've been introduced to something that I think you should know about, and I think you should really look at it. I don't know what it will do for your husband, but I think it's worth a try. So she takes one look at the multifold brochure and the ingredients. She said, well, I'm already taking 3 of these, so I want it. And in fact, if I'm going to take it, I'm going to be a distributor, so we're in. I thought, wow, this business is so easy. I can't believe it. First person I talked to, and they're a distributor. Yeah, I learned how wrong I was with that too. But it just so happened that, you know, Michael had already given us some Protandim, so we gave her a bottle immediately to start with. And we then didn't see them for 2 weeks because Kelly and I went away to a conference. 2 weeks later, they come back in for his therapy appointment, and I'm like, okay, Margaret, you know, how's Peter doing? Because Peter didn't talk. He was profoundly aphasic. And she just smiled and said, everything's good. I'm like, okay. So we start our routine, and I get him on the mat, and I get the dynamic cords on his ankle, and he starts pounding the mat with his leg.
It's a cantaloupe.
Not 10 times, not 20 times. He throws down 50 repetitions. I'm like, okay, let's take a break. So we try it again. He nods. He throws down another 50. And then another 50. And then another 50. And then another 50. And after 250 repetitions, I finally say, okay, I guess we need to try something else. Let's change gears and walk. So I help him to sit up, and we stand, and I'm just getting myself ready to advance his right foot. and he takes a step forward with his right foot. Hadn't moved his right foot on his own in almost 4 years. He walked 50 feet across my gym, 50 feet back. I still had to help with his balance. But that was the first time in the year and a half I'd been with him and 3.5 years since his stroke that he moved his foot on his own.
Wow.
Over the next couple of months, we went from advancing his foot on his own to calling his wife by name for the first time in 4 years. He was a Marine Corps colonel, reservist, retired. He started singing the Marine Corps hymn tunes. He started engaging and looking at the paper every day, propelling himself around the home. With me in the clinic, we started working on stairs and going up and down stairs, trying to prepare him to get back into his own bedroom, in bed with his wife again. It changed his life. Unfortunately, he passed away about 6 months later in his sleep. Just didn't wake up one morning. It was the most peaceful way to go. But those last 6 months gave him and his wife something that they hadn't had in 4 years. And that was the thing that really, really turned my belief. And I've heard so many things since then. I've had so many personal stories and anecdotes. And I know we're not supposed to talk about anecdotes, but this is what really convinced me that we were on something so, so special. And because of that, actually Kelly and I took off screaming in this business. We actually hit Pro 4 in our first 3 months and thought this business was so easy we could just kind of kick back and not do anything. So we sat at Pro 4 for a year. Then we realized we had to work, and we got going, and we got to Pro 5. And, we've kind of done this up and down, up and down, up and down through Pro 5, but we finally have traction again, and we're finally getting consistent with our numbers, and now we're moving forward, getting on to Pro 6 and 7, because we're going to join you up there in those elite ranks, Michael.
Awesome, brother. Well, that's real exciting. One of the things I like to talk to people about is just, obviously, when I found out that you worked with traumatic brain injury patients, and Dr. Fifi and I were talking about, the studies with Axio, with people with ADD and ADHD and autism and stuff like that. I'm sure it excited you just as much as it did me. Just the significance of and then obviously Nerve 1 coming out now and what it does. Why don't you talk just for a couple minutes about your brief description of Nerve 2 when people ask you what it is, and how excited you are about the future of Nerve 1 and what LifeVantage has to offer, not only for your patients, but for your friends and family and other people.
Yeah. No, that's a really awesome question. So when people ask me, what is Nerve 2? I say, Nerve 2 is a protein that we all have. It's in everyone's bodies. And when we're young, the Nerve 2 protein is doing its job like overtime. Its whole job is to go into the nucleus of your cells and attach to your genetic code at a certain binding site and, upregulate or downregulate the expression of over 200 different genes, and importantly, including those survival genes that produce those amazing antioxidant enzymes, the superoxide dismutase, glutathione, and catalase. And they're so, so vitally important. And I really like to touch on the fact with people that, because so many people today understand antioxidants and they kind of get the link between antioxidants and free radicals, but they have no idea the magnitude of the problem that our bodies have with free radical damage. People do not understand that our bodies are producing 1.3 sextillion free radicals every day. That's 1.3 times 10 to the 21. That's 21 zeros behind the 1.3. Taking direct antioxidants cannot scratch the surface of that damage. So when you turn back on those enzymes in your body and your body starts fighting free radicals the way it's supposed to, now we're fighting off free radicals at the rate of 1 million free radicals per second, every second. And as Dr. McCord said, that's just the superoxide dismutase. Glutathione and catalase are equally powerful. But with all of them together, we're still running a very slight deficit. That's why even though we can slow the aging process on the cellular level, we're not going to eradicate it completely. So that's how I try as simply as I can to help people understand what is that Nerve 2 protein. Because it truly is a very, very complex situation, very complex scenario. When I have to take it even a step lower, you just think, all these free radicals is like trash everywhere. And, a few people picking up trash on the beach doesn't make a difference. But when they want to have a day cleaning up the beach, they got to get thousands and tens of thousands of people out on the beach, each picking up a little bit of trash to make it go away. And if every time somebody picked up one piece of trash, they left because their job was done, you would never pick up all the trash. So you need people picking up trash all the time. So that effect of that Nerf2 protein is just picking up that trash all the time by getting people out onto the beach. So that's kind
awesome.
of
that's awesome.
a simple way to describe it.
So real quick, just another 2 minutes. Tell me about how excited you were, because I mean, me being a nutritionist and me being training athletes all my life, just because of what you do, I get goosebumps when I think about it. Just because you cannot not be excited about this, because we are just heads and shoulders above any other company that's on the market, and really any other company that's in history that has had what we have in our hands. So from a standpoint of how incredible Nerve One affects the brain, and the effects of adenosine triphosphate, touch on that just a minute, of how it affects what you do and how excited you are about that.
So Michael, I have to admit, I had a huge gap in my knowledge base in this area, because I didn't understand it before we started talking about Nerf One. Because I went back to, I was a bio major, I was a physiology major, every single biology class I had, and I've had a bunch. We always draw a cell, and we draw the nucleus, and we draw the organelles and the mitochondria. And I've asked so many people, I say, and even I'll ask you, Michael, when you were in school and you drew a cell, how many mitochondria did you draw in a cell?
Too many.
Well, I didn't. I drew like one. I drew two. And I thought to myself in my pea brain that every cell in our body had a couple of mitochondria, and that was it. I did not understand, for whatever reason, I just somehow missed this, that every cell in our body has thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of mitochondria. And when I read in Dr. Perlmutter's book that if you took the mitochondria out of your body and put it on a scale, it would constitute 10% of your body weight. Yeah. Your mitochondria alone are 10% of your body weight.
Of your body weight, yeah.
That put it on a whole new scale. So I was still a little bit, in the dark about, okay, I know that mitochondria are vastly important for energy production of muscle. That made sense to me. But then to go on and find that the highest densities of mitochondria are not in the muscle. It's in the brain and in the nervous system.
Yeah.
That was mind-blowing to me. And then the thing that's really blown me away, Michael, and I don't, this is now above my pay grade and I don't fully understand it yet, but I started seeing some of the discussions going on in the research world about the speculation that cancer, the primary cause of cancers, may not be metabolic dysfunction of the cell. It may actually be, so not metabolic dysfunction at the genetic, at the DNA level. Right. The underlying cause may actually be dysfunctional mitochondria.
Totally.
And that the secondary mutation is the cancer cell. Now I started realizing, good Lord, we are not talking about a cure for cancer. We may be talking about prevention, which is what this company's been all about in the first place. This is, and just last night we had the incredible blessing of having dinner with Nancy, I'm going to get her name wrong, Nancy Bryan from Phoenix.
Yes.
Do you know her?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my God. She's a pharmacist. Yeah. She's a compounding pharmacist.
Brilliant. Very brilliant woman.
Brilliant on the level with Dr. Sveta Silverman and Dr. Fifi. I mean, this one was incredible. And the insights she was able to share with us are staggering to me. And it's a whole new area that I need to learn so much about. I'm intrigued by what I'm going to see with my patients. I don't know yet. It's so early days in, and very few of my patients are on the Nerf One product yet. So often we just have to integrate things slowly, and our caseload is very small. So, some of them are just starting with it right now. So it's going to be fascinating to see. Axia has been a tremendous boon to my patients in terms of focus, concentration. That alone has made a big difference with so many people, let alone the added benefits we have through Nerf2 activation. Honestly, Michael, you're absolutely right. This company is so far ahead of the curve. We are cutting edge in everything. And when Dr. Fifi says we have to remember that where we are with NERF 1 today is where we were with NRF 2
7 years ago. Yeah. 7, 8 years ago. Yeah.
in terms of the scientific community and what's coming out. And I even asked Dr. Silverman yesterday, I said, do you think that now that we're a network marketing company, that we're going to get the same interest from academic institutions about NERF 1 and them doing independent research on NERF 1 as we did on NERF 2? Her response to me kind of surprised me because she said, absolutely.
That's a good response, right? Yeah.
That's going to be huge, because if we continue to get that same sort of independent, peer-reviewed, published studies coming out about other products from our company, I don't care that other companies are starting to come out with products that they claim are similar, because the only science they have are studies that they've paid for and they've performed.
That's it.
It's not going to hold water. It's not going to hold the validity that we have from these independent peer-reviewed published studies on PubMed. It just won't.
That's it. And one of the things, Arthur, I like is when I asked a couple of my professors about this years ago, they said it would take 7 to 10 years for people to understand NERV 2 activation. And that was 5 years ago. So for us to only have 80,000 distributors in LifeVantage and to be 5 years out of a 10-year education process. And one of the things I tell people all the time is that I have a PhD in my group, and he said, when you have a product that eliminates 90% of what you're sharing with people, you're going to get some pushback from people. And I'm sure you experienced that with yours, because you obviously had to have a mind shift. And my guest last week, a guy that I hope everybody gets a chance to meet, 5 smartest guys in LifeVantage, is Dr. John Huey. And he said he just had to do a paradigm shift in his way of thinking, because the old technology that he had been making tons of money off of was no longer working. And so we have the answer. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. And I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to be in business with you, and you know, I'm honored to change history with you. So thank you for your humility. Thank you for your knowledge and your wisdom. And if there's anything that my wife Lisa and I can do for you and Kelly at any time, don't hesitate to give us a call or let us know if there's anything we can do. So thanks for being on tonight, brother. Appreciate you.
Michael, honestly, likewise, I'm equally just so honored to have you invite me on the call tonight. I feel blessed to be able to share with your group, and I just feel like we're one big, amazing family, and anything we can do to help each other, I'm 100% in, and I'm here for anyone, however I can be. So thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend.
I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to be listening into the rest of this call. So
awesome.
Thank you for having it.
You are welcome. Thanks. Okay. So here's what we're going to do now, guys. We're going to jump back into some. I'm gonna turn this next portion of this call over to Janice Hayes. Janice Hayes, her and her husband Glenn are Pro 4s in the Marietta, Georgia area, Atlanta area. 2 of my best friends in the whole world. One of the things that I like about this business is that we get to build relationships with people, not only just in this business, but in life. And Lisa and I just love Glenn and Janice. They're some of our leaders. And the reason I'm going to have Janice on tonight is Brandon and Lynette Cunningham, our mentors, have closed out our Elite Academy yesterday here in Orlando. And they gave us what I call an education sheet, a tracking sheet. We could call it many different things, and Janice will touch on that. But I think it's a take action sheet. I think it's something that's going to keep us organized. It's going to allow us to propel our businesses from that standpoint. So before she takes it over, if there's anybody that hasn't muted their phone yet, you have to, Janice, you might have to, if you see people that don't have it muted, I turned the call over to you so that you could take care of that. But I'm going to let you take over. And if you need to share your screen, you have access to everything now. I've made you the host, so take it away. Are you able to take?
Awesome.
Are you okay over there? Everything's good?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Okay, I think we're good. I saw the two that were making the noise.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Michael, for this opportunity. Glenn and I love to share the things that we've been taught. We've had such incredible mentors, including you, Michael, my brother, and we cherish the times that you come up and hang out with us and pour into us as you have from day one. And we're just so grateful. So I don't want to take a lot of time because I know we've spent fabulous time with Arhtur, and I was sitting here taking notes and taking notes and notes. And this won't take long, guys, but it is so really wonderfully breakthrough. I am a huge fan of accountability. And I feel like if I can have a system that helps me stay accountable to myself, as well as to those who are mentoring me, it is a useful tool. And Brandon developed this tool, and he drew it up and gave it to Ryan Goodwin and said, okay, Ryan, you need to put this together for us. And it's in our back offices from what I understand. I haven't looked yet, but it is, Michael? Okay, great. But I've got the form here, so I'm going to share my screen now and help you and just kind of go through with you all what is the essence of this form. And it is just cool. Plain and simple, it is just cool. So if I can get it to cooperate with me here. Okay, there we go. So there's 3 sections to the form itself. And I'm going to give you a quick overview. If you weren't at Elite Academy, then this is brand new for you. If you were at Elite Academy, you were probably almost at the point of saturation because Saturday was intense and long, making up for Hurricane Matthew. So quick overview, everybody, is the first section is presentations for the month. And we all know that if you really want to be successful on a consistent, continuous basis, you're shooting for a minimum of 15 presentations a month. And I'll address that in just a minute. But this is an accountability and leadership planner. So what we're talking about is if I want to position myself to be a leader in this company and I want to help my team become and develop their leadership capabilities, I want to use the best tools that I can. If I'm not interested in being a leader and I'm not interested in growing my business, then I'm probably not going to use this tool. And that's okay, because we each are individual business owners. The middle section is training events I'm registered for. And now with all of the LifeVantage academies that we have going on around the country every single month, there isn't a reason why every single one of us should not already be registered for November the 19th. We should already be registered for Global in Salt Lake City in April. And I even write up in that space other things like if we have an elite coming to town, or like Brandon came into town in September. Those things I need to have on there because that shows my mentors that I'm taking advantage of every opportunity that there is. And then this last piece is called the leadership grid. And I'm going to go into that with a little more detail. But first, let me go back to the top. If you'll notice, and Lynette said this, if you'll notice that the numbers go down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on, because they don't want you looking at this like a calendar. This is 30 days in the month, and you are trying to make sure that you are getting presentations on your grid, that you are making contacts with people. And presentations, remember, are anytime we get information in front of people. So that could be a phone call with a connect to an event. That could be sitting down one-on-one. That could be a home meeting. Gosh, we could do 4 presentations at a time if we've got 4 people at our home meeting. And you're tracking that on this, filling in these boxes with the names of the people that you are doing presentations with. Now, a lot of folks really love electronics, but there's some power in paper and pen. And one of the cool things about this is you're going to put at the top of this the month, and of course put the year, and you're going to keep these. You're going to keep track of these. Think what a gold mine this becomes as you also look back over your activities for the first quarter, for the second quarter, and also through the year. So one of the things that excites me is that I'm writing this in, and then at the end of the month, and Glenn and I did this, we got a hold of this on Monday, and Daniel Bernard was talking to us, and he and Michael are really coming alongside Glenn and I. So okay, did I do that or did somebody else do that? Sorry, that distracted me. But one of the things that we did is we did for September, we looked back at our paper calendars because we both used paper calendars, and we looked at all the third parties that we did for our team because we're putting information in front of people. And Brandon said that counts because we're putting information in front of people to try to bring it to closure. He also said, that when we do that for people who are cross-line to us, that counts too, but that's volunteer work. And he said, it's just like our volunteer work, any other time we have to keep it balanced with building our businesses. And that's one of the things we love about LifeVantage. Michael, you are an excellent example of having a heart of gold. You will help anybody that needs you, and we all do that in LifeVantage. But I'm going to use a color system so that Daniel and Michael and Brandon can see at a glance how many presentations Glenn and I are doing, how many presentations we're doing as third parties, and how many presentations we're doing as volunteers to help cross-line other people's teams. And that will give all of us a sense of our balance. Are we building? Are we encouraging? Are we supporting? So that's what we're going to do at the end of the month is, and we did September, we put the events and we did our leadership grid, which I'm going to talk about. And we took a picture of it with our phone and I sent it off to our mentors so that they know, 1, we're serious, 2, what we're doing, and 3, as Daniel said to us, how they can support us. Where do they see us needing encouragement? Where can they help bolster what we're doing? So please, even if your goal is not 15 a month, that's okay. But let's say you have a goal that you want to do 1 every single week. Well, if you're tracking that on this accountability sheet, that's going to help you hold yourself accountable. Did I fulfill the goals that I set for myself for this month? I hope that makes sense to you all. It does to us because we love knowing that when we set a goal and we set a target, holding yourself accountable is so, so important. And here's the other thing. You may feel like you've been really busy and you may feel like you've been putting this information in front of a lot of people, but if you write it down and then you look at the numbers at the end of the month, then you'll know honestly how busy were you. For each one of us, that's going to be a different answer. But for me, this is going to be great for Glenn and I to hold ourselves accountable. There's no way that we're going to hit those elite ranks that we are striving for if we're not doing the work. And this is the only way that I'll know day after day and week after week and month after month that I'm putting in the work that I need to accomplish my goals. I already mentioned the training section, so I don't have to do that again. But if yours isn't filled in at the first of the month, guys, you got to ask yourself. We all know how important attending events is. And those of us that were able to get to Elite Academy in Orlando, you know how critically important those events are. So let's talk a minute about this leadership grid. This is really where the nuts and bolts of your building is. Brandon uses his example, and he used it when he taught Saturday Elite Academy, Daniel and Kathy Bernard, because he said that even though he had introduced, Brandon had introduced someone to the business, they signed up, but then they weren't working, and then someone else, and then they signed up and they weren't working, someone else, etc. But about 4 or 5 down, up pops Kathy and Daniel Bernard. So this is not necessarily going to look like your graphic tree does on your back office. You're not going to put in every name here just because they're in your family line beneath you. You're going to put in here the people that you're excited about, the people that you believe have the potential to be leaders in this company, and people that you want to pour your time and your effort and your energy into. So who are you going to be excited about? We're going to go back up to the top. Who's doing the presentations and who's attending the events? If people are doing the presentations and they're attending events, then you put them on your leadership grid and you work with them to try and find out who's beneath them. Help them dig for the gold. Help them do the mining in their contacts and their database. But you're not going to just put people on here just to have names on here. This is where where we are going to be putting our energy, going to be putting our effort. Doesn't mean we don't love the people that aren't on here, right, guys? We love everybody where they're at. We support them where we can, but we're going to run with the runners, because that's the only way we're going to get to Hawaii. And I don't know about y'all, but I want to go to Hawaii. I don't want to have to pay for it. Right, Michael? Yes. So guys, don't worry if you don't have a lot of names here. What Brandon said is your goal is to see this build every month. Okay? And don't be afraid to take names off and put other names on. People's lives change, their timing changes, and it's okay. How many people, and Michael can I've heard him tell the stories over and over again because he's been in the business so many years, but people have come into the business, left the business, come back into the business, left the business, and that's okay. One of the things that I love about network marketing is it's one of the very few things besides our faith that we're allowed to do a do-over anytime we're ready. So hopefully that helps you all get a sense of how powerful this tool is. We are so grateful to Brandon and to Lynette for developing it. This was, and what Brandon shared with us this was the essence of what he did with Daniel and Kathy Bernard. It just wasn't on paper like this. But this is how they helped Kathy and Daniel get where they got. And this is how every one of us can reach the elite ranks with Michael and with the others that are up there. And shoot, let's go for those new 3 ranks of the, our newest distributor, or second newest distributor, Ashley likes to call herself, oh dear, how can I say this now? Supreme Intergalactic Overlord in Training.
I like that.
So that's who Ashley's going to be. So, and I want to thank my team that's on this, because they know training's important, and our newest distributor, Cheryl Gleason down in Pensacola, is on. She already knows, and she's learning that this is the future, guys, and this is where all of our freedom is coming from. So go in your back office, print these suckers out, give yourself a file folder or a notebook, talk to your upline, and let them know that you're serious and you want to do this, and that every month you're going to send them a snapshot photo from your phone of what your accountability and leadership planner looks like. And Michael, you'll be getting ours, my brother.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, you have any questions?
No, Janice, great job. You know, I am grateful that you took the time to just make that real. It just became real to me. I mean, we know that things are real. We know, I put this on my phone. This is my new phone thing because I think that I've always been doing 15 presentations. So I'm going to challenge myself to do this every week. And I'm going to use this form, guys. You're never too good to use tools, no matter what your rank is, no matter who you are. And if you're not doing this and you're not having success, please take this serious. Lisa and I did a little video today at this pool thing that we did, thinking that I was in Hawaii and with underneath a waterfall. And we can make things reality by following these things that we get. Hey, Goober. And he is a goober, but I love him. But the good thing about this is guys, I know we went over a little bit today, but thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your Sunday night. I am going to go back to Thursday nights this coming week. We had it tonight because it was obviously because of Elite Academy. And what I'm going to do next week, I'm going to have another special guest that you won't want to miss this call. And I'm also going to have some nuggets from Elite Academy that I think have changed a lot of people's action and thought process. Our phone was ringing off the hook today. Constant three-way phone calls. Guys, let's take what Janice just did and I don't know how if you didn't get excited from listening to Arhtur, you need to pinch yourself and just say, oh my God, we're still got 5 more years of education, and those type of people are already involved in LifeVantage. And did you see how humble he was and just saying, I'm just excited about the future. So you should be excited about the future. I'm excited for all of you. Lisa and I are going to pray and be here for you guys no matter what. Let's go out and make a dent this week in history, and let's change some lives. Guys, thank you so much for being on the call. I love you all. Love God, love people, and let's have an awesome, amazing week. God bless you guys. Have a good one.